Hey guys, well, this is the back route of where I usually go when I go up to Chesterfield Square, which is a place I usually go up to just for GameStop and whatnot. I hope you guys' week have been pretty good. Mine, well, aside from all the videos I've been posting, thank God they were pre-recorded ahead of time. Some, not so much, but this is of a difficult subject matter because it deals with what happened to me 11 years ago in Japan. And those scars that I've had since then, they're coming ahead. They are repressing. They are no longer, it's no longer being repressed. It's mainly just really coming up. So, for those who have weak stomachs or can't handle it, it's best that you turn away from this video. I don't mind if you want to turn away from this video, but if you want to, then I'm not going to be mad. But for those who know, you guys you guys already got the gist of it. But for those who don't know, allow me to share this story with you guys. You see, 11 years ago, and I was 25 years old, I set out on a course to go to Japan. But this happened a little after I graduated. After I graduated from high school. And the one thing I really wanted to do, everything that happened, was go to Japan. I was in a relationship at the time with this woman who was in Japan. I didn't know her that well, but I kind of got personal with her. And so we planned it out, worked out all the details. I had to get a passport in order to go to another country because that's how it is. I had to make sure everything was on the up and up with my stats and figures, you know, making sure I was okay, I was fit to go undertake such a task as to travel by myself from one country to another, because, you know, diseases and all that, different climates and whatnot. And the thing with me is, with me and different climates, I had to painfully endure trying to adjust to different climates. So me in Japan, I had to endure a different sort of heat, a different sort of rain. You know, I had to, and that was probably the first time I've actually ever dealt with snow. Actually, that's the first time I've actually ever saw snow in my life. It was in Japan. So, it was all well and good. Although I think I was 24 when I left. I was 24. So it's about 11, 12 years. 11, 12 years. Now when I was there, I stayed for a while. I had to adjust myself to the culture and everything. And I basically was just there under the pretense of a guest. Now, it was all well and good until I got married. And what most people don't know is that I was at one point married. And of course, marriage had its ups and downs. The biggest downer was there was no privacy. I mean, we had very little privacy. We barely made time. We barely made time to go out on a date, get used to, seeing one another. But we kind of managed. We kind of managed, but it was okay. I mean, stupid little horn. Anyway, as I was saying before, everything was supposedly going smoothly. I was still going to church. I was still being, a devout Christian and whatnot. But then, slowly, everything started declining. And I couldn't tell, but just something was disturbing me. Something that made me want to go back, but I had to mask it. After about, say maybe 3 to 4 months, that happened. And I was still living that way. I remember the day, I remember it was cold. It was very rainy. We went to Tokyo. And Tokyo is not exactly what you think it is in anime and whatnot. what happened was I had a severe loss of strength. I mean, I was helping to carry an old AC, and we were going to get it installed in the house. Or rather, where I was living was a terrace. It was not a house. But my energy just kind of gave out. My arms literally gave out on me. And I was so upset that I said, I can't do it. I said, I'm just low on energy. I'm tired. You know, I couldn't do it because my arm was like, my left arm was just shivering really badly. My left arm, it always let me know if something is wrong or I'm in danger or something like that. So, what I did was, after all that, I was so tired, so angry, so upset, that what I did was I stripped down, went into bed, and just fell asleep. And thankfully it was on the weekend, so there was that. It was on the weekend. It was around, I think, 10 or 11 p.m. I heard footsteps, and the footsteps sounded like they were heavy, like they were very slow, very heavy footsteps, and they were like monstrous footsteps. And for the first time in my life, I felt scared. I didn't know what was happening. And I was far beyond drained to do anything. So I found myself just tired. Just very tired, very afraid. I remember the door opened, and I saw her. Like I said, I was too weak. I felt like I was drugged or something. And then all of a sudden I heard a shh. And that's when it began. She kept rubbing, she rubbed and humped against me. And the only thing she said was shh. And I was too tired to say anything. I really was. I was extremely tired to say anything. As much as I want to say I don't have it in me, I really didn't have it in me to do anything, to say anything, but it just happened. And then the last thing I remember was a tear escaped from the corner of my eye. As I knew exactly what was happening to me. At that moment, I realized I was being raped. And there's my phone. I'm trying to walk away from. Thank you. Like I said, I remember it so very well. I remember it so very well. For years, I've never spoken to this about this one thing that caused me so much strife, so much pain. And on top of that, so much anger upon many other things. It has caused me to secretly loathe and hate myself because I was so weak. I was so powerless that it technically made me so angry and upset. And this whole week, I felt that side of me. That side of me just go savagely mad. It was full of anger, full of rage. And it couldn't be repressed anymore. It had to come out. It all had to come out. And it's come to the point in which it no longer has just a spiritual manifestation, but something more physical. And with that, it has caused me to hurt. It has caused me to lash out at the people I know and love. I broke out into tears. I started hating myself and calling myself stupid, moron, idiot. Much like that poem I wrote on my Facebook page. The one that was very much graphic about the vomit and blood, what was written on the walls and everything. That, to me, just made me realize it needed to be acknowledged. That part of me I locked away. That part of me that was basically all that built up anger and repressed rage and fury, all that stuff. That's been with me since I was a kid. That's been with me since I was a kid. since that time that event took place in Japan, to where I couldn't hold it in anymore. It had to come out. And it had to be known. I hurt. I'm in pain. I'm suffering. I'm in turmoil. To myself, I can only say, I'm sorry. I'm sorry I let this happen to me. I'm sorry I let it happen to you. I'm sorry for hurting you. I'm sorry for letting this hurt me. I'm coming to terms with myself with this one event that somehow made me grow this giant, ever-existing ball of anger and hatred and rage and fury. Much like the Genki Dama in Dragon Ball. Imagine that. But instead of having all the hopes and dreams and desires of every life of the galaxy and the universe, or rather the universe, imagine having all the hurt, the pain, the suffering, the teasing, the torment, the rage and the fury bottled up, shaken up, ready to explode, ready to lash out, ready to go full force and not letting go until there is nothing more than a single beaten up, not moving body to beat around anymore. Yeah. That's been me. That's been me all this time. It has hurt me. And I have started to hurt people. I don't mean to hurt. Before I left today, I did one thing I thought could help me. And that's one long, silent yell of rage. Just to release all that anger, that hatred, all that negativity that's been feeding at me for the last couple of years. That's been seeping in my head through the very corners of my mind. For that, I had to release it, let it go. And I decided to tell my mom I'm sorry that I've hurt you. I'm sorry that I've let this go too far. I'm sorry that things have been hurting me as much as they've been hurting me. I've allowed this thing to hurt me far too long, but no more. No more. It has to stop, because if I don't stop it, if I don't put an end to it, it will never stop until I'm dead. Or I've killed someone out of anger and I've actually felt how strong I am. It's a scary thought. Believe me, it's a real scary thought. After all this, I decided to take this time out to just go outside, let myself stew for a while, and just compose my thoughts. Because I've let this thing control me far too long without even ever realizing that it has been controlling me. But for my sake and for those around me, friends and family alike, it has to die. It has to die and forever stay dead. So that's my story. Story of that door that had to be kept closed. So with that, I'm glad I let it out and let it be known, and hopefully I'm a better man for it. So until next time, my friends, peace, farewell, and I'll see you soon.